Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to everybody. This is Preacher Moss, your main man, brothers and sisters. We have a show. This is our LOL section, our Laugh Out Loud section called Guard Your Tongue. Now, we're going to be talking about a few things. There's been some things out there in the atmosphere, and I just have to say, brothers and sisters, they are essentially too funny to let go. Now, some of it is subject matter, but some of it is the way people handle business. Like, I'm a big person that believes when you ask somebody to tell you the truth, don't wait around hoping that they tell you a lie so they don't have to get to the truth. If you want the truth, just ask the truth because 9 times out of 10, you know what the truth is. You just want somebody to make you feel better about who you are in that situation. So today's episode is a little bit of a departure. It's sort of like a throwback to when we used to have Friday Funnies. We know here on the staff and here on the show, the Shout Out Show, we know we get into some things that are heavy topics, but today we just kind of wanted to have a little levity, if you will. Have some smiles, if you will. Sometimes the world around you presents you with things that are comedically amazing, and you just have to step back, and appreciate the stupidity that's out there. The name of the show, basically, brothers and sisters, is actually not Guard Your Tongue. It's actually this title, which is LOL. Idiots say the darndest things. I think I've been edited. It's idiots say the darndest things. And I want everybody to know the word idiot is not something that I made up. Some people work in Endeavor, and by golly, they earn that title. So we're going to bring some clips on here. People who are, let's say, earning or have done well to progress. They just don't have a BA in idiocy. They don't have a master's. Some of them are aspiring for their PhD in stupidity. And it's our duty as citizens here on the Shout Out Show and beyond to recognize these people, their actions, and their thoughts. Okay? So you know exactly what we're going to do here today. We're going to have some clips. We're switching the format up a little bit. So we're going to make dua for Sister Satana because Sister Satana asked me for something and we were not able to deliver it. Is there a problem, Sister Satana? Nobody can hear me? Nobody can hear me. All right. Let me see here what we have a problem with. Oh, people can hear me now? Okay, so I don't know what's going on, Sister Tana, but I'll just have to roll with it. So, like I said earlier, brothers and sisters, I just want to make sure that you are clear about what kind of show this is going to be. I don't want people to come on here and get sensitive and say, oh my gosh, Shannon, yes, it's that kind of show. Sometimes we need a little comic relief. Sometimes I can't be provided on to provide all the human content. Sometimes I have to look out in the world, take a step back again and go, that is the dumbest thing I saw in my life. That is the weirdest thing that I heard in my life. That is absolutely nuts. And then sit back and let it just breathe a little bit. We don't want it to get on us. We just want to breathe and appreciate, in some regards, that we are not in that mindset. Now, right up front, we have a young man. This brother is actually a co-owner of the Golden State Warriors. We're not going to run his video yet, but he's a billionaire. And you would think, oh my gosh, a billionaire would know the things to say. But this just goes to show you, you can have a lot of money and say the dumbest things. And we're going to show that here on the show, here on the Shout Out Show. So again, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors, the people that make this thing go. Us Hub, BeFinancialIndependent.com, Convenient Urgent Care. And we're going to give even a shout out to Rifa Attar, our old sponsor, who does wonderful thing. He just called me today. And of course, we want to give a shout out to Bayan Islamic Graduate School. We all have their ads, you know what I'm saying. But I'm trying to put them and give them some love and some spotlight before we get into the idiocy around. Think about the things that you have seen. Think about the things you're seeing. People who say, we want to get America back. We want to protect America. How are you going to protect America? You don't protect the people in America. Case in point, January 6th, 2021, we have an insurrection. The people trying to protect folks. You know who you didn't see in the insurrection? Black people need protection. Latinos need protection. There were no homeless there going, we need shelter. There was none of that. You insurrectionists, among a lot of things and words I would use for you, are actually elitist. You're elitist. How you come to Washington, D.C. and you ain't have one black person selling the program? You ain't have one black person with a videotape, t-shirts. As Sister Satana said, I went to the insurrection, all I got was this dumb t-shirt. Yes, You are not providing economic opportunity for the less fortunate. And I'm ashamed of you. And I just want you to know I continue to be ashamed of you. Newt Gingrich says that the people with the January 6th Commission should be threatened with jail. No, Newt. Your chef, your dietitian should be threatened with jail. You got a bad case of the Dunlap. Your belly Dunlap over your belt. All right, so I had to get that out of there. So we're going to go ahead and roll and get the show started. Sister Tana, let's get this thing talking and let's get it rolling. We are talking about, of course, idiots say the darndest things here on the ShOUT Show. I'm Preacher Moss. All right, we're supposed to run that olive branch ad right there. But it's okay. We're going to go ahead and keep this thing rolling. Listen, we appreciate you guys coming. So to make this thing perfectly clear, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, okay? Things that are said out in the public domain are things that are appreciated and have to be talked about in the public domain. You know, too often, I believe that people believe that they're talking in spaces where they think they're safe spaces. Now, there's a difference between talking in a safe space and there's things of talking in a protected space, okay? Safe space, protected space. When it's protected, a lot of people don't want you to know exactly what they said. Safe space is, you know, we can talk about each other, but you're still, in many regards, accountable for what you said. So as long as you guys get that piece, we're going to be good. Satana, if you look in the queue, you're going to see a thing that says Mitch McConnell. Can you run that, please? Can we?
Yep. What's your message for voters of color who are concerned that without the John L. Lewis Voting Rights Act, they're not going to be able to vote in the midterm?
Well, the concern is misplaced because if you look at the statistics, African American voters are voting in just as high a percentage as Americans. A recent survey, 94% of Americans thought it was easy to vote. This is not a problem.
Back to this thing. He says 94% of Americans said it's not a problem to vote. But at the same time, he said African Americans vote just as much as Americans. Now, there's a whole brouhaha of him saying something racist. But the mathematics don't add up, brothers and sisters. But you're talking about voter base. You just voted against a Voting Rights Act to make sure that it'd be harder for other people to vote. Thus, Mitch, you have invalidated your argument that it's easier for them to vote. It is not easier for them to vote because that's exactly what the legislation said. You're making it harder to vote. And we have to look at this 94% of voters, brothers and sisters, because it's not a 94% portion of the electorate, because some of the same people are saying the same things. That's to say that 6% of the voting population has a problem. That would be the African American voting population, but we represent a larger part of the general population. So, Mitch, that's not true. The thing is, brothers and sisters, Mitch said that thing because he felt as though we were not looking. We were not looking. And Mitch knows, because Mitch is about 194 years old. He voted against abolitionists when Lincoln was in office. So he has not changed his tune. So essentially, brothers and sisters, you have somebody who's telling you, this is the lie. I continue to lie. I cannot break. We always say, what's the deal with the devil? The devil lies. Why? Because that's his nature. So it is also with a lot of politicians. I don't not want to make a bad case of Mitchell. I don't want to make a case against the elderly. He is an elder, but he's a lying elder. He is a lying elder. And the people behind him, did you see them just look down at their shoes like they had mirrors on them? Like, I can't believe Mitch said that. Because, brothers and sisters, when he made that statement, it was not about you. It was about a process to make sure that people who want power can have power and keep power. Now, let me show you guys another one. This is a billionaire talking about Uyghur Muslims in China, the oppressed minority of Muslims in China. Can you show that one, Sister Satan?
Billionaire investor Chamath Palihapitiya is clarifying. People always clarify. Remarks that he made over the weekend that unleashed social media backlash on his podcast. He said, nobody cares about human rights abuses against the Uyghurs in China. He said, I'd rather not lie to you and tell you the truth. It's not a priority for me. He said something like there are all these things that he worries about and that didn't come close to making the list. Why would it, though? If you haven't been to China, you're not a Uyghur, haven't seen what's happening, I guess it's easy to just compartmentalize that. And maybe if you don't believe it. If you don't believe it's happening, fine. But if you really do know what's happening, would you really say something like that? In a tweet last night, he said, in re-listening to this week's podcast, I recognize that I come across as lacking empathy. I acknowledge that entirely. To be clear, my belief is that human rights matter, whether in China, the United States, or elsewhere, full stop. Okay. But I thought it was just kind of weird, guys, that there are a lot of basketball fans, I guess. In China, there's more basketball fans than we have people in the United States. There's got to be something to that when you have seen. But no, maybe not in this case. Maybe not in this case. Right. But in the Houston Rockets case and in some of the other.
Okay. Let me tell you why this statement is insane. First of all, you don't even know about the people that you're talking about. Clearly, you haven't done your homework. Understanding that minority Muslims, Chinese Muslims, called the Uyghur Muslims, have been around for thousands of years. One of the oldest mosques in the world is in China, brothers and sisters. In fact, even more so, that Chinese Muslims have two identities. They have a Chinese name, a Chinese identity. They even have a Muslim name, a Muslim identity, which they have been fighting for years to hold on to under the oppression of the Chinese government that wants to crush the actual practice of expression of religion, particularly on Muslims who are trying to make sure that this identity stays intact. And let's talk about the billionaire. I'm going to give you guys a little thing. The billionaire said that about the Uyghur Muslims. If you see it, the actual clip, you will get upset. That's why I didn't put it on. But the man basically said, hey, I don't care. They are below my care level stuff. When he said that, brothers and sisters, it just reminded me that when he was a kid and he didn't have money, the reason he got so skinny was the fact that people beat him up and took his lunch. In fact, until he got money and could hide security, I believe that people continued to beat him up and take his lunch. I believe when he got married, it was written into his contract, hey baby, whenever you feel like it, you could beat me up and you could take my lunch. To the point when he got to a level, and here's the thing, he's a co-owner of the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are part of the Bay. Oakland, San Francisco. Huge Chinese population. So it's not even just talking about the Chinese Muslims. You're talking about the treatment of Chinese Muslims by other Chinese. So now you're snitching. You're dry snitching. And for what it's worth, brothers and sisters, we know that this type of talk goes on. He thought, again, he had a protected space. The things that he said, it wasn't even a protected space. It was broadcast on a podcast, brothers and sisters. You wanted to get caught. You wanted the controversy. You wanted the attention. You got it. And that weak baby P explanation as why I did X, Y, and Z, it just doesn't wash. That's all I'm saying. Before we take a break, Satana, let's get our people out there. They've been out in the ShOUT showroom. We want to make sure we bring them on. Who we got today? We got Sister Reed. What's going on, Sister Reed? Sister Reed says, I hear you. And I could lie, but like she's supporting what I'm saying. She's saying I hear you because we had some audio problems. So I'm glad we got our audio problems hooked up. Thank you so much, Sister Reed. Appreciate you. We'll be coming to you tomorrow. I guess I'll be calling you tomorrow. Look for my call. I hope everything's well with you and your family. Big shout out to Derek. Big shout out to, of course, Jawan. Next up, we got my main man, Johnny Thomas. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Little brother, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know as a former elected official, you can identify with some of the things I put up with Mitch McConnell and this billionaire because it's kind of annoying. It is mostly annoying to me because I find folks who just don't understand that these type of behaviors and things that people say out of their mouth, we just happen to catch them. These are things that just been saying all the time. So it's not necessarily you pulling stuff out of the atmosphere. These are people congealed thoughts. And they're absolutely insane. All right, next up. Altar for Sheep, my main man, Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down from the city of Toronto, Ontario. Our Canadian ambassador to the show. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah barakatuh, brother. I want to know, Brother Altaf, are they saying crazy stuff? Are idiots saying the darndest things in Toronto? Let us know. Holler out. Don't you be shy. Sharing is caring, my brother. Thank you so much. Next up. Bilal Salahuddin, what's going on, Ak? Much love. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah barakatuh, man. Thank you so much for supporting us and coming on the show today. You know, you're my main man. Hope everything's going well with your family. Shout out to Sister Sonia Salahuddin Dalton. You know, gotta recognize one, gotta recognize the other. All right, brother. Much love. Got Sister Ika checking in all the way from Depok, Indonesia. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah barakatuh, Sister Ika. Shout out to you and your family. Hope that you are having an awesome. Well, you're not having an awesome day. You just woke up. So we hope that you have an awesome day. All right. Thank you so much for supporting the platform. Next up. What's going on, Brother Eric? Man, you on this show. Brother Eric, you know you got your shout-out show, Stripes. I thought I gave them to you. But if not, I'm giving to you right now, brother. And I'm even going to say Eric. I'm not going to say Eric. But Brother Eric, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you, man. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi barakatuh. You know your brother always appreciates that greeting, so thank you so much. Next up. And my other big brother here, Mark Candidate, better known as Jelani Locks. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi barakatuh. Thank you so much for checking out the program. Mark, can you give us in the comment section the name of your show and when we can find it? Mark's had me on his show a couple of times. He does the whole thing about Virginia Democratic politics, and you know, just a very, very creative mind and a thoughtful, critical thinker in the context of the black vote, the business vote. So Mark, we're going to shout out your show today. Just put it in the comment section and we will post it. All right. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi barakatuh again. Next up. And we got Sister Satana working the ones and the twos on the production studio. Sister Satana, we appreciate you so much. Thank you again. Apologies. I don't know what I did with the run show today. So I know I wrote it, but I thought I sent it, but it's been one of those days. You know, your brother's getting old. So, you know, pray for me. My memory ain't what it used to be. I'll probably find it as soon as I get off the show. But that said, brothers and sisters, we're going to take a short break, pause for the cause. We're going to come back and give you guys the rest of the show. This is a message from Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. Be right back.
We just need help.
Imagine if there wasn't an Olive Branch Muslim Family Services at your command. The people who help people have to say, we need your donations, don't delay. We all have struggles from time to time, but leaders dedicated is what you find. Before another person sheds a tear, support Olive Branch, you don't have to fear. Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. Action you can see, compassion you can feel. Sing it with me. Ooh. Ooh. All right, that's a message from Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. Firing up for, of course, the blessed month of Ramadan. So we want to make sure that we are highlighting, brothers and sisters, not just Olive Branch Muslim Family Services, but the idea that we want to get back to nature, our original nature of excellence and trying to serve one another. We want to get away from all the skullduggery. We want to get away from all the distractions. We want to get back to a soulful, peaceful, spiritual place. And we really want to get that. I'm going to talk more about that as we get into Ramadan, why it's important and things like that. So I appreciate you guys, and we're going to go ahead and keep the show rolling. There's a student I remember. His name was Leland Hall. And Leland was a pretty smart kid, very smart kid. And he was a mischievous kid, kids, because kids could be. He was labeled severely most disturbed. I think he was just really smart and bored. That's just my opinion. But I remember one time Leland got some trouble in the cafeteria. And the cafeteria lady told on him, and I tried to get him out of the situation, but he was on one. So we wind up in the principal's office. The principal is getting all the information from the cafeteria lady, what Leland did, what he said, blah, 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 blah. And I look at Leland and I said, listen, this doesn't look good. So here's the strategy. The less you say, the shorter your punishment will be. He said, really? I said, the less you say. I said, don't say anything. I said, when the principal comes in here and asks you questions, give a yes or no. We don't know. We don't need any of the interstitial, Leland. And he said, okay. I said, so, you got it. Yes and no. She's going to ask you a lot of questions. We're trying to get you out here. Because I didn't want the kid to get suspended for 3 days. And so the principal at this point, she goes on a rant. And she's actually kind of disrespectful to the kid, talking about how he was raised and the mother. And he's doing really well. Did your mother raise you to be an animal? He's like, no. Did she raise you to be disrespectful? He's like, no. And he's doing really well. And I'm like, go ahead, Lena. We almost home run like that. And she starts sweating. I don't know what was going on, but she started sweating. And this is a big deal, brothers and sisters, because it was November in Milwaukee. That building was cold, but the lady was sweating, just pointing. And she was actually a little rotund. Who cares? I tell Leland, don't say nothing. If we see her sweating, don't say nothing. And so we're almost at the home stretch. And she looked at Leland and said, you've said a lot of the right things. Let me ask you a question. Do you think I'm a fool? And Leland said, if the shoe fits, you probably couldn't get in it. Not the best thing to do, and he was suspended 3 days. But my point is, he expressed himself. Now, it was only to his detriment. We know this, brothers and sisters, but sometimes people say things that are in detriment to other people's situation. They handle scenarios in rather poor ways, and we are left with the residue. Now, we're going to show you a clip here. This is a shout out to Milwaukee. I know everybody's talking about Kenosha and Kyle Rittenhouse. But sometimes things happen in Milwaukee or outside of Milwaukee that kind of lets you know that it wasn't just Kenosha that had the problem. Satana, can you roll that, please?
Police in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin say it was a big misunderstanding. Officers mistook an African-American teenager for a robbery suspect and handcuffed him. As Michelle Miller explains, the teen was only riding in the car with his white grandmother.
Come out with your hands up, face away from us.
After ordering 18-year-old Akil Carter out of his grandmother's car,
Hands up high in the air. Face away from us. Walk to the sidewalk.
police placed him in handcuffs and ordered him into the back of a squad car.
Officer Gabriel is going to get some information from you, okay?
Grandmother Paulette Barr had just left church and was driving Akil to work when police stopped them. Officers say they initially started following them after an African-American man and woman identified the vehicle. They said it was carrying a white woman who was being robbed by two black men. But police say they never got a formal statement from those witnesses because they left the area. The family's attorney is skeptical.
It seems strange that for all of the dash cam footage the police have turned over, we have not seen anything where the officer's interacting with these people.
After Carter was detained, an officer is seen exiting the patrol car with his gun outside the holster. Officers then approached the teen's grandmother.
Is everything okay? That's your grandson? Yes.
Police say Carter was handcuffed for approximately 6 minutes.
Well, I'm guessing what this sounds like is a really big misunderstanding.
After the teen was released, a witness captured his grandmother's reaction.
That's your grandson? My grandson. Wow.
The family's attorney says even if the police account is accurate, the officers clearly overreacted.
Any random person can run up to a police officer now and say, stop that car, it's engaged in a robbery, and that's all it takes.
The family's attorney says the frightening encounter left the grandmother feeling helpless, wondering what she could have done to protect her grandson. Michelle Miller, CBS News, New York.
All right, brothers and sisters. Let's go ahead and switch that angle a little bit, Sister Donna. Thank you. All right, brothers and sisters. So here's the thing that could have helped the police. When the young man said, "This white lady in the car is my grandmother," you could have checked his story out instead of believing that he was a robbery victim. Because I don't know what kind of robberies you have that will make white women go, "You know what? I wish I had a black grandchild." I'm just saying. And the fact of the matter is, she was adamant about it. She was like, "That's my," now, she is the reverse Karen. She is the non-Karen, the non-grandma Karen, who literally, brothers and sisters, in a place called Wauwatosa, outside in the suburbs of Milwaukee, went to these people and go, "That's my grandson." But here's the deal. Why are you guys doing this? When you got dash cam, you have administrators snitching on yourself, pulling guns, come on, brothers and sisters. I'm just saying, just stop. Just stop. Now, our last story, and I'm going to wrap up after this, but our last story, brothers and sisters, is this one. It's in the state of Henderson, Las Vegas, Henderson, Nevada. We had a case of a young man, black man. His name is Shane Brown. Shane Brown. I think Shane Michael Brown. He gets pulled over, brothers and sisters, and he does not have his license. But what Brother Shane has is a copy of his Social Security card, and he gives them the Social Security number. "I don't have my license, but here's the Social Security card." They wind up arresting him anyway. They take him to jail for about 2 days. He's in jail. And the reason they kept him in jail is because they believed that he was somebody else. That he was somebody else who was named Shane Neil Brown. He was Shane Michael Brown. This was Shane Neil Brown. And Shane Neil Brown had an outstanding bench warrant, a felony bench warrant. Now, these things happen all the time. But just like the show, just like the video I just showed you before, you got to ask questions. So he spends 2 days in jail, basically because he didn't have his license, but they put on him that he is this other person. Now, he's sued for $500,000. Now, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? You both have the same names. They didn't check the middle name. That's not worth $500,000. They said, both of you are males. That's not worth $500,000. Brothers and sisters, you see what I'm saying? They said, you know what? This guy is this height, and the other guy is 4 inches taller. Well, that's not worth $500,000 because the police in Nevada do not walk around with tape measures trying to talk about how tall people are. Okay, that's not worth $500,000. Shane Michael Brown, Shane Michael Brown was 23 years old. The other guy was 49. That's not worth $500,000. That's worth $250,000. So time to put the video up. This is worth $500,000. Shane Michael Brown on the left is black. Shane Neil Brown on the right is white with a big white beard, brothers and sisters. This is what I'm talking about. Police, stop making statements. You look like absolute fools. They did no cross-checking. This boy stayed in jail. And I'm talking about the lockup in Las Vegas. Jail for 6 days on a case of mistaken identity. In fact, they decided, you can take it out, Satana. In fact, they decided that hear me now, that they were going to assign him a new number and put it on the actual felon's case. That's worth more than $500,000. That's worth $1 million. Brothers and sisters, that's our show today. I appreciate you. And we got Mark. What's our comment for Mark? I have to blow my screen up because my eyes are bad. Thank you, Mark. It's called the VAD SBC show live, streamed on Facebook. Okay, we got all the information. When I'm on there the next time, I'm going to make sure that I make an announcement so you guys can come and check that show out because we talk about politics and culture and philosophy and just a lot of good things, outside of, the political idioms that you see on these shows, MSNBC and Squawk Box and things like that. We talk about life and politics. So thank you so much, Mark. Oh, and we got my sister Felicia Chappelle. What's going on? FC Boss Chick, shout out from also Dr. Yvonne Simone, better known as Mama Sion. Thank you so much for giving a shout out to the Shout Out Show. You know I love you guys. I hope everything's well and everybody's healthy. And I don't know if I got a chance, but big shout out to my brother Emmett. Brother Emmett passed away, so we'll give a shout out. So that being said, brothers and sisters, we're going to close this show out. We were actually going to do an outtake, but Sister Satana, if you could take us out after we give our shout out to our sponsors. Our sponsors again, want to give a shout out to BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. You can call 202-580-3780. Again, that's 202-580-3780. Check them out, brothers and sisters. We've been talking a lot about financial. Make sure that you have your financial literacy and acuity together. We don't know what's going to be happening after this Omicron clears out of here. A lot of people think that the economy is going to come back and business is going to be back. We are literally dealing with supply chain shortages. So I don't know what that's going to look like. So let's talk about our finances so we are ready this time. Okay, that's one. And of course, if you are thinking about getting a quality, hear me now, quality Islamic graduate level education, you got to check out Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Again, that's Bayan Islamic Graduate School. You can go to bayanonline.org. Again, that's bayanonline.org, offering programs in Islamic studies, leadership, education. They have a master's divinity program with a specialty in Muslim chaplaincy. You want to make sure you check it out. Go to bayanonline.org. And our newest member to the family, we want to give a shout out, of course, to UsHub TV. Again, that's UsHub TV, featuring this month and next month. They will be featuring my comedy opus, my comedy special. You know what it is? Love Supreme and Anatomy of Gratitude. Love Supreme and Anatomy of Gratitude. Go to ushub.tv and check them out. I'm encouraging everybody to support this new upstart, very bold, very courageous streaming service highlighting Muslim excellence. Make sure you check that out. And last but not least, we want to give a shout out to Convenient Urgent Care. Again, that's Convenient Urgent Care at www.convenienturgent.com. Again, that's www.convenienturgent.com, and with 3 locations in the Houston area. You know those locations, brothers and sisters. We got Pasadena, we got Cypress, and we have Houston on Parker Road. All right, this is the Preacher Man. You guys have been amazing. Sister Tana, great job. We're checking out. We will see you guys tomorrow, inshallah. All right, and remember, as the song says, guard your health. Don't get the COVID. Take care now. Hey, babies. Welcome to Radio WCUC, Convenient Urgent Care, home of the smart patient. This is DJ What It Do. You know what time it is. It's the top of the hour, and the request lines are open. You know what you want to hear. I know what you want to hear. Operators are waiting.
I just got to hear Don't Get the COVID.
Don't get the COVID. Put your mask back on. The Delta COVID, more contagious than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get the vaccine. You know that it can keep you safe, and your people living up in your space. Don't get the COVID. You need to wash your hands. The Delta COVID is more deadly than before. Don't get the COVID. Go on and get your vaccine. You know that it can keep you from dying. Don't leave your family all alone and crying. Don't get the COVID.
We invite you to join our fight against COVID and against misinformation. It's time to listen to the doctors and trust the science.
When I think of people dying that don't have to die, it makes me sad. Now's the time to be sober. Together we can make this thing over. Let's fight the COVID. Convenient urgent care, home of the smart patient.